Fofocas quentíssimas do príncipe Harry e da Meghan.
You know what time it is. On Tuesday, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are set to touch down in Australia for the first time since 2018. This time, though, instead of representing the royal family, the California-based couple is going down under for a mix of commercial and charitable events. Your station's Paula Froelich sat down with Shauna Kay. She's a royals expert and host of the Vintage Read Show to break down how Australians are feeling about the visit. Let's listen to their conversation.
Well, I think it's interesting the way that it was actually announced that they were coming under. It was announced as if it was some sort of pseudo-royal tour. They quickly walked it back because of the public backlash, and they, pretty much very quickly put out a statement that it was purely a private visit and also for their commercial ventures and, as you say, a charity event for Harry, which is debatable because I believe he is picking up the speaker's fee, but never mind. And also, I think he's going to be doing some Invictus work as well. But I think the public mood is on a scale of disdain to disinterest, honestly, Paula. There's not a lot in between because people are really sort of quite jaded about them now. I think it's because of all the aftermath of their last visit to Australia, and we heard all those horrific stories coming out from behind the scenes.
Well, and after that tour, she had 4 staff members quit. So it'll be interesting to see how many people hang out after this tour. But the first stop, they're going to Melbourne, where Harry is going to speak at the Interwiew Summit, Psychosocial Summit, on mental health in the workplace, which I found kind of odd, as Harry's never really had a 9-to-5 job. But the tickets are quite expensive, and it seems like they might not be selling so well because another tier of tickets was just released that is half price.
Yes, nothing is selling very well. I just don't think they have any pull anymore. And like you say, it's just ridiculous that Harry is actually a keynote on that mental health in the workplace because he has never held a conventional job. I think the only experience he has is probably trauma, his own trauma, and how to monetize that trauma. Now, if there was a keynote on how to monetize trauma, I think he'd be absolutely excellent. A few funny comments have been being about on social media about the fact that, well, he's quite familiar with bullying in the workplace because he works with Meghan. But, it's just, I think people can see through it. Really, Harry is not an admired figure in Australia because he's seen, whether it's incorrect or not, he's seen as betraying his family. And that's actually a trait that not many people admire here.
After Melbourne, the couple are flying to Sydney. I'm told they are not going to stay at the Intercontinental, where the girls' weekend is going to be put up. They are going to stay at a 5-star hotel in Sydney. But there's been a lot of controversy about that. So I've reported that the tickets have not been selling. They still aren't sold out, even though there's 300 seats. There's usually things like this are quite picked up quickly. But there's also the issue of her co-host, Gemma O'Neill, who has had massive tax problems and owes 550,000 Australian dollars to the government. So what do you hear is going on? What's the word on the street in Australia?
Well, I spoke to a friend last night who actually works in this space, and she said to me that it was absolutely extraordinary. If you contrast it to Gwyneth Paltrow's Besties event, which was in 2023, now that was sold out. But the interesting thing, Paula, is the fact that there is no pre-promo. It's basically an influencer blackout. And that is a real red flag. Now, leading into Gwyneth Paltrow, there was about a month of pre-promo where people were very happy to go onto their socials and advertise the fact that they would be there, see you there. Everyone was excited. Everyone wanted to be associated with the event. And quite frankly, when Gwyneth Paltrow's event happened in Sydney, the whole of the eastern suburbs went to that event. I mean, people said you couldn't get a babysitter, you couldn't get an Uber, you couldn't get anything that night, and everyone knew where everybody was. They were all at the Gwyneth Paltrow event. And it's almost like they don't want to be associated with her, with Meghan Markle, because it's really bad for their brands.
Fascinating. Paula Froelich is joining me now. So, Paula, obviously, there's so much bad press about their trip. Why not cancel it altogether?
They can't. At this point, they are entrenched into this trip, and it would be probably a fatal blow for their brands.
And on Friday, you reported that Prince Harry is being sued by his former charity. Tell us more. This is new information.
Oh, yes. So you'll remember last year, he had started Sentabali back in 2006, and it was for AIDS orphans with a prince in Lesotho. And then last year, he left the charity because he had a huge fight with the now chairwoman, Dr. Sophie Chandaka. And at the time, he had let some things slip, like she might have missed all this stuff. Now, she came out fighting, and she said, absolutely not. I was bullied. They tried to take control of the charity, and now, a year later, after Tom Bower's book has come out, in which he obviously spoke to Sophie Chandaka, saw emails, heard voicemails. Now she is suing for defamation.
Wow.
And she wants intervention, protection, and restitution because she is being very bullied online. Still, the donors have not come back, although they stopped coming back with Harry.
All right, Harry, thank you. Harry, more. Make sure to subscribe to the Scoop newsletter for the biggest stories in entertainment.